Hey guys, welcome to the day 2 of this visual identity tutorial series. As you can see, we have here with our caricature, which we did a well vectorized logo in our day 1. So as promised, we will be going further into working on the remaining aspects of our visual identity. So I hope you enjoyed the day 1 and you learned a lot from the day 1. So without further wasting of time, let's quickly go to our day 2, or let's proceed into our day 2. Okay, so now guys, what we're simply going to do is we are just going to go to our Illustrator file. We're just going to go out to our Illustrator file. Then we right click in order for us to open it on CorelDRAW. Then you go to open with. Then you select CorelDRAW. Now it's going to open on CorelDRAW. Easy. Just click on OK. Then here we have our file that we designed on Illustrator right here on CorelDRAW. So it's that simple. What you design on Illustrator can easily be opened on CorelDRAW. So now our file is open, but if you look closely, they are separate because they weren't grouped initially. Okay, they are separate. So what we need to do is we need to highlight all of them, then use a Ctrl G to group. But also if you look closely, you can see that this thing isn't actually the real black, like the real black color. This looks like the CMYK version of black. This is not the RGB version of black. So what we're simply going to do is we could either change the color here, or we could copy it first, then bring it to this place we already have a file open down for CorelDRAW for this our work, and we paste. Then we reduce it. Then we align to the middle with P. So we reduce again. So now let's just change the color here. So you can see that now we have the color here. We have the logo here. We could just simply come here and choose and click on black, the RGB black, and you see now we have the real black color. Then we remove the outline and we have our logo right here with us. So now the next thing we're going to do is you're just going to power clip this. You right click, power clip. So let's just power clip it into this box. So now as we power clip into this box, you can see that we already have our color palettes, just like I discussed with you guys in the day 1, and how I got the color palette using this image here. Now we're able to get this color palette. So the main purpose of this tutorial is for us to choose the font and then give our logo the desired color. So we're just simply going to set this aside first. Okay, now we're just going to draw a background that we're going to work with. Now we have our background. Now let's choose a color for our background. But there's one specific rule that I normally teach my students, or I always tell people, and that rule is never forget the black and white rule. So for every design or every logo you're working on, always make sure you test it on what? In a black and white background, for you to ascertain that that logo is good, versatile, and can work in all cases. And what other more case can a logo work in if not black and white? So we're simply going to bring this our logo into the middle. And we're going to color this background white, though we can't see the white because it's already white. So let's take this to the back, shift page down, and we have our logo in a white and black background. Okay, we have our logo in a white and black background. So let's exit, and this is it in black and white. So let's copy this page, press Ctrl C, then you add a new page, Ctrl V to paste, and let's test it in where the background will be black and the logo itself will be white. Now as you can see, our logo works well in black and white. So the next thing we're going to do is we're now going to copy this. Okay, we're going to copy this. We're going to create a new page, preferably. Okay, now we're going to use one to give it a color. Now in this case, I would want the logo to take the brighter aspect of the color, while the background should take the darker aspect. But let's do the opposite first. So the background should take this red here, this lighter red, while the logo itself should take this darker red. Okay, I don't really buy into this. So sometimes it's good to experiment. Okay, I don't really buy into this. Though white will work for it, white will work for it very, very well. But I don't want to work with white. I want to work with something unique. Now, we are just going to make the background instead this other color, and we are going to make the logo itself this color. Now, that is a beauty. Okay, now that is a beauty. So now we've worked on this. So the next thing, we're just going to copy, and we add a new page, paste, and then now we have to choose our typography. So now let's go to our text tool, or you press F8. Then what is named Epic Spartans. Epic Spartans. That is the name of the brand. So now we are going to choose a good font. Now I was playing around some fonts. At first I downloaded a font called Spartan, and I decided to use the extra bold. Okay, because at least the boldness would rhyme or make sense with the boldness will rhyme or make sense with Spartan bold. Okay, this is Spartan bold or Spartan extra bold. So I worked with Spartan extra bold. It didn't really give me, it was nice, but didn't really give me what I wanted. So make a duplicate. It's always good to play around fonts that are, that can give you something close to what you want. But I decided to work with Unisans, and Unisans cannot give me what exactly I needed. Okay, so now the next thing is now to find a way to pair this font with our logo. So we're going to put this here. Then we'll bring our Unisans to the middle. Now, to make this a bit more interesting, let's give it a color red. It might work. Now let's align this to the middle to work well with it. Now this looks like something that may work, but I don't really buy into it. You see, one thing about logo design is, don't say because you've tried one thing, that is the end. You have to keep trying. Try things just to make sure it works, especially when you have a direction. Okay? Now, this won't work. So let me bring this below. Then, after bringing it below, I will center align it. Then I will reduce the leading, the space between each characters, to something like this. Okay? Now, one thing you need to notice when you're working for a client, it's good to be very, very precise. It's good to be very, very precise. Now, we've done this, so we are briefly going to just align this to the middle. Okay. Now let's group both of them and align them very well. Now, this could work. Okay, this could work. But I want to give this typography a different color. Okay, let's work with 3 colors. So now we're just going to give this white, and let's see how that plays out. Okay, this isn't bad. Okay, this isn't bad. So now, one thing to note is, as you're playing with your stuffs, you have to play it out in different categories or in different formats. Now we've played it in this format. Let's try playing it in this format, where everything is on the same line. So I think this is also cool. Okay, so it's good to always have a place where you have copies of each of these formats. So we're just going to copy this, Ctrl C, then you undo to get our previous format. Then we keep our previous formats. Let's delete this typography. We keep this format, then we paste and keep this format also. So we copy this page, Ctrl C, we add a new one, we paste, we come over here, and then we can put this at the middle so that we can easily compare and contrast. So one thing you can do is you can just cut this, you come over to this one, you paste, then you can put them side by side. Then you compare and contrast which one you think works best for you. Okay, all these things are ways for you to create a sort of a way that you say, oh, this will work best, this wouldn't work best, then let's also create another one. You Control C, Control V, then you drag, you paste. Now let's go over to this one, but in this case you're just going to put this at the middle. Okay, we're going to put this at the middle. Let's align them. Okay, so now because this is not one thing about CorelDRAW is if we're not working on that main workspace, if we're not working on this main workspace, anything we are going to be doing is just going to be as if it's trash. So what we are simply going to do is we are just going to try to put this one to the middle, since it's this one we want to work with. So just follow me. Okay, so since it's this one we want to work with, let's put it at the middle, then we left align, okay, then we put this at the middle also, then we take this to the side, and we reduce this a bit so that it can, it's very good to always note these things. So now we put them. Now you could see your different formats in which your logo design could play out. Okay, you can see how your logo design could play out in different formats. So now let's try one other format. So now let's try another format. Control C, Control V. So now the format we want to try now is a way we're going to put this typography at the middle of the Epic Sans. So we're going to give this a bit of space. We've already ungrouped it, so put them to the middle. We put this to the middle, and then we reduce. You can zoom in. Okay, I think this is cool. You zoom in to adjust to your preference. Okay, if you feel it's not spacious enough, you can always adjust. So now we hold on the typography, we come to our alignment box here, then we try to align them so it will be perfectly sitting at the middle of each other. Now we highlight, we group, and we put it to the center. And this is another way the logo could also play out. Now we have 4 different formats our logo could play out. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do now, let's just put each of these things into their separate pages. We already have here for black and white. So now let's put all of these things into their various pages. So we're just going to cut this, we create a new page, we put it to the middle, we cut this, right? We come here, we create a new page, put it to the middle, then we come over here, we cut this, and let's put this at the middle. Come over here, we put and we place to the middle. And each of our job is now at the middle. So we have our white, black, then colored, which is just the logo mark itself alone. Now here we have the combination of the logo mark and the typography or the font we used. Then another format, Epic patterns, another format. So the next thing we are going to do now is let's try and create a pattern, a brand pattern for this particular establishment. So for us to create a pattern, we're just going to use, I want us to create a pattern using only the logo mark. So we're just going to copy this page with Ctrl C. So we'll come to this empty space here. If you don't have an empty space, you can just create by adding a new page. So we paste, so we go into it. So let's delete this. So now I'm going to, although they say there's an easier way to create a pattern on Illustrator, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to be doing that of only CorelDRAW. Now, CorelDRAW is just the usual manual way, but it's a faster way to do it on Illustrator. But I'll be doing a video on how to simply create a pattern, a brand pattern on Adobe Illustrator. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that when I release that video, you would know. So now let's create a pattern using the font of this company or of this brand, I mean the logo mark of this brand. So the simple pattern we're going to create is, let's just twist this to this other side, then we duplicate. All you just need to do is you select this logo, you come to this edge here, you take it to this side, then you press Ctrl, then you press as you're holding down your Ctrl key, you right click on your mouse to make a duplicate. Then you can highlight the both of them, then you take again, you make a duplicate. Now you could highlight all of them, you can group, center align with P, you take this up, you make a duplicate, you take this down, you make a duplicate. Now you can easily reduce them, okay? Then you can make another duplicate here. If that's not too much, that will be too much. So you could just easily, okay, okay, let's make another one. You make another duplicate, then you make another duplicate. Now you can just simply highlight them, you group, you center align, then you make another duplicate, you select, you group, you center align, and you have your brand pattern for you. And then you have your brand pattern. Now this is one way to do a brand pattern. So another way you can do a brand pattern is, let's copy the logo again. Come here, you add a new page. Now in this case, you are not going to create the brand pattern using the whole of the logo. We are going to create a brand pattern using just this one here. So you're going to just copy it, then we delete the remaining part of the logo. We paste with Ctrl V. Okay, we paste with Ctrl V. So next thing you're going to do is just you're going to just take this up, just the same way we duplicated. You highlight the both of them, then now see what I did. I selected this one and selected this one. Now look at the way they are looking at. You can see the edges. The edges are showing. So I will tap again for this rotational and skewing symbols to show. Then I'll rotate it to the middle. Then I'll duplicate. Okay, so this is another way you can create a pattern. And you could just group this and just simply make patterns. Or to make it easy, you drag from the edge to make sure it aligns here. Once it aligns, you duplicate, then you duplicate with Ctrl D. You do the same thing. You duplicate, then you use Ctrl D to duplicate. Now you can easily just group them, center align, and you have a brand pattern. But this doesn't really look beautiful in my eyes, so I'm just simply going to select one of these again, and let me see if I can make out something from this, just this alone. So I'm going to copy here, then I take it down. Okay, now I've selected all four. I'll select all the four. I tap again to rotate, then I make a duplicate. I think this is way better. I think this is way better. Now, if you look at this pattern very well, there's one thing you can see. You can see this pointed part here, 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 here. It looks like those those things, all those ninjas threw at someone, all those I don't know what they call them, but so you could easily just create patterns from these. This is our ways of creating brand patterns. Just very easy. Brand patterns can come, or you could easily just go online and search for patterns. So you could just make something random. It doesn't matter how your pattern looks like, as long as it is unique to that brand. For me, I just feel that is good enough. As long as it's unique and it's something the brand can work with, and it's a pattern that is versatile and can work everywhere for the brand. For me, I'm okay with it. So there you have on that pattern. Okay, so you can submit both patterns to the client and they could pick out which one they want to use for their design. So the next thing we're simply going to do now is to round up this class, to round up today's tutorial. We've been able to see how we selected the fonts, how we were able to draft out different formats of our logo. Okay, you can see how we draft out different formats for our logos. So it's now and we are able to create patterns also. So in our next tutorial, we will try to create brand materials, use it for mockups, and then after doing that, we work on the mockups and then briefly show how you can present your logo to your clients. So now we've done all of these things. All you simply need to do is just press your Ctrl S to save, and your file is being saved. Then from there you can start exporting. Now the first thing you can do is you can export this logo, Ctrl E to export. In CorelDRAW use Ctrl E. Then you can I like exporting my logos in PNG formats, not transparency yet, but just in PNG format. Then I could say epic Spartans logo 1. Okay, export. Then I'm working in 1000 by 1000 pixel, but I want the resolution to be high, so I just come here and increase the resolution to 1000. Now if I increase the resolution to 1000, that means my width 1000 pixels and my height 1000 pixels will automatically change to 3333 pixels by 3333 pixels. So I just click on OK. Now I've exported this one. I can come over here, export this one also the same way, but this time around I might just give it Epic Spartans logo 2. Okay, we can't go about giving it names and say Epic Spartans combination in portraits, combination in landscape, combination in mixture. So for the sake of this class, we just give it, let's just go straight to the point. 3. So you just save it, and so on and so forth. So from the next class, when we start working on mockups and other stuff, then you also see how you can export your file in a PNG format, in a transparent PNG format. So right now, this is it in the normal format that the client could use as a profile picture. Now let's export this our pattern here and see how it turns out. Just keep going for you save or you export. So it's as simple as that. So we do the next one. 5. I think that is it for this particular tutorial. So we have it here, but all the same, let's try having these in this and this. Nope, let's say white. Okay, one thing about logo is you can try a particular, though we've seen our logo in black and white, okay, but it's also good to test it out in other corresponding or secondary color formats to see how it plays out, just to make sure your logo is versatile. So you can also try it out in what? Okay, let's say pure red color. Okay, this is pure red. Okay, always try out your logos in certain situations to see how it plays out. Okay, just to make sure that yes, you are heading somewhere. Now this is pure red. Let's say this is black, and then this is our usual red. It's not bad. Okay, so always make sure you try out your logo in various formats just to make sure it plays a nice job in those places. It's very, very good to test it out. So now let's quickly view our images that we've exported. So let's just view them and see what's up. Let's see if we did something nice today in this tutorial class. So far all you just learned is how to choose your fonts. So here we have it. So this is very good. This is very nice for your stuff. At the end of this project, all of these files will be made available in we made available for you guys to download and to enjoy. Okay, so here it is. So here's our second pattern. Here's the first pattern. Me, I prefer this one. Like, I'm really digging this pattern. It really gives this Greek vibe, this ancient epic kind of vibe. So all those things they normally, all those carvings they do on all those walls, all those buildings, all those ancient buildings, all those carvings they do on the wall of ancient buildings. It just gives me that vibes. Compared to this could work maybe when you are doing things like ornaments and clothing, but this just gives me the vibes of the whole stuff. So you can see that one thing again is we're able to go with this color also, because if you remember our brief, the client wants to be bold, so we had to go with what? With a bold font. They want to be bold and modern. We could have gone with a let's say with a serif font, but considering the fact that the client wants to portray a sense of modern sophistication and boldness, we had to go with something modern. Okay, something that we not just speak for the logo, but we speak for the brand and towards their target audience also. So you can see that one thing I love about this typography is the edges of the font. They are as sharp as that of the logo itself. They just gives this vibe. And I personally, I'm a fan of tweaking and customizing fonts, but I just couldn't bring myself to customize this font. This font is just perfect, and everything is just well, laid out and just makes sense. Even the kernings are just good for the font we are dealing, for the kind of logo we are dealing with. So I just felt there was no need. Let me just work with the font, with the typography in its raw format. So, and it's really played out well. So imagine this imagine maybe this on their profile picture or stuff like that. So yeah. So anyway, if you had fun in this video, make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and share it with your friends so that they too can learn as you've learned. So until the final day and the day 3, we'll be completing this project or this series with our presentation and mockups. Stay safe and stay healthy. Catch you.